So we read in Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 and 23, that the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Well, against such things there is no law. So the second one of those, second fruit listed, is joy. And so, well, what is joy? A lot of folks would say that this is just another word for happy or happiness. But problem with happiness, I would say happiness is a feeling, and there's lots of ways that you can get to be happy. And there's plenty of vices, plenty of sinful things that we can do to make ourselves feel happy for a moment. And I don't think that God would want us to be using those ways to do that. Those are little shadows of what's real. Those are, uh, fake things that are imitations. Plenty of drugs make folks happy, which is how they develop their addictions. They're seeking. I would say they probably were seeking joy in the first place, and then got caught in this because with addictions, what ends up happening is that your happiness that you sought after for a moment, you felt something, and then you tried to enhance that because it's sort of like the law of diminishing returns, is that you don't feel as happy the next time, and so you need to do something to increase that. And so if we are looking for joy, the real thing and not the fake thing that addiction offers or promises and lies to us about, instead we need to look for something real and something true and something grounded. And that's where our real joy can come from. And if you see somebody who is truly joyful, these people are unshakable. That as much as the world around them tries to bring them down, their joy is anchored in something. And so while the whole world might be falling down around them, they do not lose their joy. And when you meet people like that, it throws people off because the world tells us that we're not supposed to be like that. Now, I'm not saying we don't get angry or mad or hurt or anything like that, because that would be taken away from the whole human experience. But let's go to what Jesus said. In John chapter 15, verses 8 through 11, he says, "By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit." Again, there's fruit. "And so prove to be my disciples." Jesus is saying, if you're not bearing fruit, then where's the proof that you're one of his disciples? Something to think about. "As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love." Okay, so we started with the love the last time. Love then leads to joy, is what we're going to find here. We abide in the love. We love God. We love our neighbor. "You keep my commandments. You will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love." That's how we do it. We're living in love, choosing to do so. "These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full." This is where Jesus talks about love as a result of, but joy as a result of how we love God and love our neighbor. And this sort of thing is again, this is by decision, by choice. Yeah, the fruit is a noun, is the noun joy, is that we have this joy because of what we did. But then what ends up happening is, just like love can be a noun or a verb. The verb for joy is rejoice. And so we're told in Philippians 2, do all things without grumbling or disputing, that you may be blameless and innocent, children of God, without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. That's always, but think about it today, okay? This is a crooked and twisted generation, and you are called to shine as a light in this world, holding fast to the word of life, so that in the day of Christ, which is coming, that's the return of him, I may be proud, and I did not run in vain or labor in vain. Okay, run, labor, these are painful things. You're not always going to be joyful, you're not going to be happy through, but we're called to be joyful. And even if I am poured out as a drink offering upon the sacrificial offering of your faith, this is Paul saying this, I am glad and rejoice with you all. That even if he is poured out as a sacrificial offering, and that's not pour myself out, but I am poured out, that somebody poured out. Paul spent everything he had in exhaustion and effort and strife and torture and sacrifice. So we're talking like to the point of death and beyond. He will be glad and rejoice that with you all, likewise, you should all be glad and rejoice with me. So we are called, Paul calls us to be working towards this, to shine as lights in this wicked and crooked generation, that we should be glad and that we are proclaiming, we are advancing the gospel, we are advancing the kingdom of God, that we are to the point of death, even death on the cross. Okay, so this is what joy is, like the joy that the gospel message is spread, that there's good news, that there's salvation. And later on in Philippians, he also writes, rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. You are called to be joyful always, not just in good times, but through all times, in all seasons, in all situations. And let your reasonableness, it's got a little note there, so let's check out what that is, or gentleness, another fruit, be known to everyone. The Lord is at hand. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are from the joy of knowing that we have salvation through the work of Christ on the cross, that with all of that, we are being called to something better. And that focus on something better, then is going to build up and pour out in us. And so think about the people who are truly joyful, like that, like it doesn't make sense as the world attacks them and puts them down, that they are unshakable. And where does that joy come from? Where is that? And you're going to find that these people are anchored in Christ. So anchor yourself in Christ, anchor yourself in the message, and this is how you'll develop the fruit of joy.